Hey guys, welcome back to the Savage Omega build series where I provide the best builds to safely and efficiently farm Savage Omega using all 14 weapons. And today we're covering one of the most broken weapons in the game and easily one of the best weapons to use against Savage Omega, the Gunlance. So, what makes the Gunlance so unique in this fight is that it can function as both a high damage DPS player and a full tank. So this dual role is possible because of the weapon's special properties, which lets it combine incredible offense and unmatched defense. So first off, Gunlance is arguably the best weapon overall for fighting Savage Omega, and there are several reasons for that, starting off with the signature mechanic, shelling. So, shelling attacks are quick bursts of explosive damage that make Gunlance exceptionally strong. So these bursts are one of the best moves in the weapon's entire kit because for one, they act as gap closers, helping you stay on top of Omega. 2, they have AoE burst potential and can be chained rapidly. And 3, they synergize perfectly with burst skills. And 4, they have a very low end lag, which means you can attack immediately and then block right after. So this gives Gunlance deceptively high mobility and safety. You can reposition around Omega while maintaining full defense, something few weapons can do effectively. And another key reason Gunlance dominates this fight is because shelling deals flat damage. So with most other weapons, your damage varies depending on where you hit Omega, and his body has many areas that heavily reduce incoming damage. But with Gunlance, every shelling basically hits around 75 points of damage. So no matter what the hit zone is, you're gonna deal 75 points of damage around that benchmark. So that means you can output roughly 225 points of damage in about 3 seconds or less, safely and consistently, even while playing as tank. And believe it or not, that is not even what makes this build broken. Shelling alone is powerful, but the real reason why Gunlance completely outperforms in this matchup is Wyvern Fire. So Wyvern Fire is a Gunlance special charge attack, so it takes about 2.5 seconds to charge and deals around 1,000 points of damage every time you use it. So you can use it to store 2 charges at once, giving you back-to-back nukes. And the amazing part is how you charge Wyvern Fire. You charge it by simply using your shellings, so you have a perfect gameplay loop. You'll use your shellings to deal burst damage and build charge, and then when Wyvern Fire is ready, unleash it for massive damage, and then resume using your shellings to recharge and repeat. So you can charge your shellings to increase your burst damage to over 350 points of damage, while also simultaneously charging Wyvern Fire faster, because whenever you charge your shellings, you'll basically consume all of them at once, and you'll deal extra damage, and you'll also get more of a charge for your Wyvern Fire. So, this gives Gunlance a natural rhythm for alternating between shots or short, safe bursts and then massive charge explosions. Now, let's talk about the skills that makes this build shine, both offensively and defensively. So, we're running Artillery level 3, we're running Load Chills level 2, Attack Boost level 2, Agitator level 5, and Burst level 5. So altogether, this gives you incredible firepower that allows you to rival or even outperform dedicated D+ players in your group. And now for defense, we're running Guard level 3 and Guard up level 3, giving you the highest level of shield defense possible in the game. This means you can block any of Omega's attacks comfortably. And on top of that, we have Stamina Surge level 3 and Constitution level 4, which works together beautifully. So Constitution reduces your stamina depletion when blocking, while Stamina Surge speeds up your stamina recovery. So this means your guard is always ready and you can recover instantly after absorbing a hit. And next we have Quick Sheath level 3, which lets you sheath faster and you can dodge Omega's HP bombs or reposition quickly when needed. And then we also have Divine Blessing level 3, which reduces incoming damage and adds extra layer of survivability during chaotic moments. So all in all, this is without a doubt like one of the most balanced and overtuned builds we've basically had on this entire channel so far. You get insane defense durability combined with absurd offensive power, creating a weapon that is safe, consistent, and devastating. So if you're looking for a build that lets you dish out 1,000 points of damage while barely breaking a sweat, this is it. So without further ado, let's head to the table of contents to see what else is covered in this video. Alright, so if you're already confident in this matchup and you know all of Savage Omega's punish windows, then you can just go to the build setup and feel free to skip to the timestamp below. However, if you really want to master this weapon and understand every punish window, every optimization, and every setup that makes this build really shine, then I highly recommend watching the full playstyle section. There's a lot to unpack, from advanced positioning to some insane combos and setups that lets you push Gunlance far beyond what most players realize it can do. And with the right timing and execution, you can pull off ridiculous bursts of damage and chain sequences that melt Omega's health bar before he even gets a chance to fight back, honestly. So when the hunt starts, the first thing you want to do is perform a dismount attack. So when you're on your mount, press triangle and circle to execute it. So if you're unsure about the timing and positioning, just refer to the clip on the screen and it'll show you exactly how it's done. Again, you just press like triangle and circle while you're on your mount, and don't press anything else. Like don't like hold focus mode or anything. Just dismount by pressing triangle plus circle. So this dismount attack deals considerable amount of damage, roughly 400 points right off the bat, and then immediately after landing that hit, charge your Wyvern Fire, and once it goes off, you'll deal another 900 points of damage instantly. That means within the first few seconds of the hunt, you've already dealt around 1300 points of total damage to Savage Omega before he's even settled into the fight. Then, as Savage Omega powers up his Rocket Punch, you want to fire your second Wyvern Fire, and that is another 900 points of damage, bringing your total output to roughly 2000 damage in the first 10 seconds of the hunt. And remember, you're doing all of this as the tank. No other tank-oriented build we've covered so far can match this level of opening burst. Next, once you're grounded again, get underneath Savage Omega and use your palm motif for some quick burst damage. Because at this point, your shells are already empty and you don't have any ammo, so this is an optimal moment to squeeze in free damage before you reload. Next, once you have enmity, your goal is to use your shellings to deal consistent damage while maintaining mobility. And then against Rocket Punch, simply keep shelling to chip away and shield at the last moment before impact. And because shellings have such low end lag, this is a very safe pattern. You can sneak in bursts of damage and then immediately block whenever you need to. And whenever Savage Omega opens up with his Omega Micros, just keep shelling and press forward. Even if you're attacking his body segment, that is completely fine. His torso has the highest defense in the entire out of a lot of monsters in the entire game. And honestly, it's every other weapon does not really hit the body part, like, you know, the main chassis of Omega, because it's very unviable. It has such a high amount of defense. But Gunlance is different because shelling deals flat damage, so you can deal about 75 points of damage per shell, no matter where you strike anywhere on his body. So you just keep shelling his body while slowly positioning to his head. Next, when Omega follows up with his flamethrower, handle it in the same way you did with the Rocket Punch. Keep squeezing in shellings until your last safe moment, then guard the flamethrower attack. And then thanks to shelling's low recovery frames, you'll be able to block it and still squeeze out that chip damage. Now, speaking about the Omega Micros that we talked about, let's go a bit deeper, because when you see this Omega Micro storming towards you, you want to be very careful because they're going to self-destruct and chain explosions. And these explosions can stagger lock you, leaving you wide open for Omega's follow-up attacks. So when you see them converging, put your shield up and tank through everything, just like you see in the clip right now. So Gunlance's guard strength and stamina management makes this entirely safe, so don't worry about Omega going through your shield or something. Next, let's talk about Frost Bomb. You deal with this attack the same way. If you want to take a small risk for extra damage, throw out 1 or 2 shellings and then back away before guarding. The timing window is tight, but with practice you can safely chip in extra damage even during this move. So overall, these attacks won't be much of a threat once you've mastered the pattern. Now, let's talk about the power clashes, because in this clip you're seeing right now, I get a power clash with Omega, and to punish this, I immediately follow up with Wyvern Fire. This counterattack alone deals 1000 points of damage, turning what's usually a defensive moment into a massive burst of opportunity. And then next, let's talk about the Claw Slam attack that Omega likes spamming a lot, especially against melee players. So, I know this might sound repetitive, but the answer is the same thing. Shell for damage, then guard immediately. And as you see in the footage, even while Omega is winding up, I'm still throwing up shellings to maintain pressure, then perfect guard to slam, perfect guard that slam to nullify completely. And that perfect guard lets you reload faster or continue using your shellings faster. So it's just all about timing and confidence. And just like that, by the time Omega retreats to the next area, it has only been 1 minute and 13 seconds into this hunt, and you've already dealt thousands of points of damage, all while tanking every major attack with ease and having a response to anything that Omega does. Everything that we've talked about so far is literally like you will handle every single one of Omega's attacks the same way. I don't know any other weapon that we've covered that lets you do that. Alright, so let's talk about Starbird Wave Cannon. So as soon as Omega begins charging his attack, I immediately fire all 3 shellings, landing roughly 225 points of damage while he's winding up the shot. And even after unloading, I still have enough time to safely guard before the attack connects. And then once the cannon fires, I quickly reload, then move into punish with Wyvern Fire. However, notice in this clip that I end up trading damage. Omega launches Mortar Fire just as I'm using my Wyvern Fire. And because Wyvern Fire puts you into it has a lot of end lag, this can leave you vulnerable if the timing isn't perfect, so you don't want to use this move recklessly. Always reserve Wyvern Fire for clear openings and recoveries when Omega can't immediately retaliate. Now, let's talk about Omega's movement pattern in this phase as you see in the clip below. So, when Omega fires Mortar Fires and starts ascending or flying away, that is your cue to quick sheath and mainly sheath your weapon. This is because he typically follows up the sequence with Laser Beam attack. So in the footage you're seeing, here's the flow. Omega fires Mortar Fire, then floats backwards and performs a body slam. He then floats away and then launches another round of Mortar Fire and finally transitions into his Laser Beam attack. And that's the moment I was waiting for. As soon as the Laser Beam starts, I move behind him, charge my shellings, and dump damage during his recovery. Then I follow up with another Wyvern Fire, maximizing my punish window while he's locked in post-beam recovery frames. Now, let's talk about Mustard Bomb. Whenever you're targeted by this attack, draw your weapon immediately so you're ready to act. And then watch closely for Omega's launch animation, because as soon as he releases those projectiles, roll immediately to dodge the incoming Mortar Fire explosions. The timing is tight but reliable once you recognize the animation cue. Next, in the clip below, we secure our second Power Clash, dealing 450 points of damage back to Omega. This Power Clash conveniently refills our ammo, giving us just enough for another Wyvern Fire, which we use to punish him immediately. And remember, since we're running Burst Level 5, every time you use shellings or multi-hit attacks, you get the Burst 5 buff. And this also includes the Focus Strike that you do. So doing so ensures that Wyvern Fire benefits from Burst Level 5. So whenever you use that Focus Strike and you follow up with Wyvern Fire, you're basically going to get the Burst 5 attack on each tick of that explosion. So this synergy is what turns your normal punish into devastating burst sequences that shred Omega's HP. Now let's talk about area 3 and 4. So as soon as you get enmity in this area, you need to sheath your weapon immediately and start running. This is because whenever a new player draws enmity during these phases, Savage Omega almost always follows up with HP Bomb debuff attack. So as you can see in the clip, I immediately start sprinting the moment I get enmity, completely outrunning the explosion, and then I quickly return to the fight and resume attacking. Now let's talk about the DPS check. So if you want to optimize your DPS, this is a great time to switch to your Cuckoo light bowgun to paralyze Nursilla. And then once Nursilla is locked down, immediately dismount and use your Mog of Ages to deal burst damage, around 1800 points of damage. And in this clip, the next thing that we do is we equip our adhesive ammo and fire it directly into Nursilla to keep the pressure up. And then we put on our Rocksteady Mantle, and then we activate our rapid fire gauge and then pellet him with flame ammo. And that basically seals the deal. He will not be able to, or she will not be able to survive that. And honestly, that's it. That's everything. Like, I don't have anything else to say about this matchup. I've covered everything. I mean, honestly, this is not even a fair matchup. The Gunlance completely destroys Savage Omega. It's not even a contest. I wish I could make it sound more dramatic, but the truth is, this is an absolute stomp. Between its moveset, its flat damage, and ability to block nearly everything Omega throws at you, this weapon doesn't just beat him, it completely embarrasses him. It clowns on Savage Omega in every possible way. Offense, defense, and consistency. And if you don't believe me, try this build yourself and see just how much of a joke this fight becomes. You'll see firsthand just how overpowered Gunlance is. And, you know, with that being said, let's just head to the equipment and decoration section so you can copy this build, copy this playstyle, and start melting Savage Omega with Gunlance in your sleep. Alright, so here's the equipment, decorations, active skills, talisman, and basically everything you need to be able to copy this build. So if you have any questions about the talisman or you want to know what are some good substitutes, just drop it in the comments down below and I'll be more than happy to help you. And if you have any other questions at all, just feel free to ask. Arc Tempered New Udra is coming out really soon, so I'm gonna try to rush out the remaining 4 weapons for Savage Omega so that everyone has a guide to safely and efficiently farm Savage Omega. Because once Arc Tempered New Udra releases, a lot of the upcoming builds that I'm gonna cover on hunting Arc Tempered New Udra are going to be based off of the Omega material. So I want to make sure everyone has at least one solid reference video for this specific weapon that they have before the update drops, so they have some kind of pathway to be able to hunt Savage Omega, even when I'm not covering it anymore. Alright, guys, take care, and thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot. This channel would not exist if you guys did not support it and watch these videos, so I really thank you a lot. This is all because of you. Alright guys, take care and thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot. I'll see you in the next one.